Hello?
Hello, Max.
Yeah.
Hey, Max, how's it going? I'm Dan from the Discography Discussion podcast.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Well, we really appreciate you talking to us a little bit later in the evening.
Oh, it's all good, man. No problem.
We have been jamming the 3 new Soulfly songs for, for me, it's been been a few weeks, so we're pretty amped up.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. Thank you. Thanks for the support.
Yeah, for sure. We what we need to do is we need to sit down at some point and do an entire Soulfly episode. We did one for Sepultura last year because on our podcast normally what we do is we just talk about, like, we'll sit down with the band's first album and talk about it and then go all the way through to whatever their most current one is.
Cool. Where are you guys at?
We're in St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's do that, man. Hopefully sometime next year when we're touring, hopefully be near you guys. You guys can come and maybe we'll do it in the Buzz. That'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah, that'd be really cool.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
And we got a tour next January, I think, starting. Should be really, really cool. Should be fun. And I don't have the dates yet, but I just know that we are hitting the road in January for Ritual. So I'm pretty excited for that.
So I guess some of the questions that I had for you on Ritual especially is my favorite thing about Soulfly and even, Cavalera, Conspiracy, pretty much all the stuff you've done is, man, the lyrics are always like no bullshit, like always really in your face. What are we looking at as far as topics go on Ritual? What are you trying to tell us?
It's pretty diverse, actually. There's not really one subject throughout the whole record. It has everything from, it's wide open. It goes from Cenobites, which is about Hellraiser and Hell Priests and the whole Clive Barker, Hellraiser thing, all the way to the Bible and stuff like Demonized, which has like passages from the Seven Thunders, which I found it in the Bible. So that kind of gives you an idea that I'm totally open-minded when it comes to lyrics. There's no place that probably wouldn't touch. But there's some cool stuff on the record too, like Blood on the Street. To me is a huge personal song because I have the Navajos on the record, and it's a story of a Navajo girl that got murdered by the police here in Arizona. Nothing happened to the cops. It's a huge injustice. It's really, really a brutal tragedy. And it's kind of like one of those documentary songs, kind of like Manifest out of chaos. And then there's stuff that's a little bit more lighthearted, like feedbacks about touring, playing live, and having fun on tour. And like, I love the second line, shithole venue smells like rot. When I wrote that, everybody in the studio was cracking up, But every band can relate to that. Every band I talk to knows what that feels like. You pull up on that venue, you go inside, it smells like dead, pure death in there. It's like,
right.
So it's like it's kind of fun, man. It's kind of cool having stuff like that. And then there's summonings about the exploitation of Indian culture, how we force religion and all that stuff on them. Try to give them. They already had their gods. We try to give them new gods to pray for, stuff like that. So it's kind of cool. The record kind of shoots on all. The Rapture is about life and death and spiritualism, and like the moment right before death, that I was doing a little contemplation about that, how that second would feel like, would be a heavy moment in your life. It kind of goes through all different ideas throughout the whole record. But I'm pretty pleased with it because I worked very close with Josh. Tried to come up with different subjects and different words and not repeat some stuff I said in the past so much. And that was kind of something that we pull out the dictionary in the studio and look through, try to find different words and meaning and then delivery, because like one thing we talk about was like you gotta sing what you believe and believe in what you're singing. I had to make him believe in the words I was saying, on those specific songs. But I think we did that, so that was cool, like it was a good process to making the record.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that stuff too is going to hit home, especially with the police brutality, all that stuff that has everybody acts like it's a new thing. It's not a new thing.
Yeah,
and
it's not, and it's especially this song. It was I did a lot of reading about it. It was a lot like there's really huge newspaper articles, and I went on the internet, did a lot of research. So that was cool, The same a little bit with that Behind the Eyes. I've watched Hellraiser many times. And then I did research on Cenobites. I found out the Cenobites were like old, from old church, kind of like self-immolation type thing that they did back in Greek days and stuff like that. So yeah, so it's kind of cool to have this kind of different subjects and different delivery. But the part I'm more excited about the record is actually the music, because I think the music really contains everything I love about metal. We're a little bit back to some of the groove stuff from the early days, some of the tribal stuff, and full-on death metal, thrash metal stuff that I love, all the extreme stuff that I listen to. It's everywhere, all throughout the whole record.
Well, and speaking of that, with the extreme metal, with you being kind of a veteran as far as extreme metal goes, seeing it kind of from the beginning, are you surprised at how quickly extreme metal kind of started becoming more accepted by mainstream audiences? I mean, it seems like metal's everywhere now. And, for a while, I would show my favorite records to my friends and they'd just say, this is too much. This is too heavy. What do you think about that? Like, as far as how it's gotten more accepted?
I think it's like, I like the fact that a lot of those bands are getting more exposure, and like I say, I've been into this stuff from tape trading with Chuck from Death and more Angel guys, back in the 80s, kind of like before internet, before all that. But it's so cool to see the underground is still doing great the way it is right now, with stuff like Genocide Pact and Necrot, Dead Congregation, and Outer Heaven. A lot of great bands right now out there, man. There's a lot of like real new blood coming in the scene that I really like. So I'm stoked for that, and I think it's kind of with time. I think people are adapting more to heavier stuff too. It doesn't phase them any. Like you're saying, you listen to some stuff that maybe a couple years ago you'd be like, man, I can't hear this. I cannot listen to this, And this day and age, I think your ears get more acclimate to it, and you can actually hang with an album and find it easier to listen to these days than you did before, which I think is also cool.
Yeah, for sure. Is there a style of metal that you've always wanted to play that you haven't gotten a chance to? I mean, you've covered almost everything up to this point, but is there ever a style that you ever wanted to do that you just haven't gotten around to yet?
I have a little curiosity on doom metal, stuff like Conan and, kind of like Om and Sleep, Yob. That kind of, I find it very intriguing. It's an intriguing world to me. It's like really cool, long songs, a lot of heavy riffs. I kind of watch a little bit of documentaries on that stuff. There's a couple really cool YouTube documentaries about doom metal. There's one in England that has Conan and a bunch of other bands. That's really cool. I actually met Conan in Europe last time we were there. They ended up doing a Fudge Tunnel cover of Hate Songs in E minor. I ended up singing with them, and that was really cool. So yeah, I think that kind of style kind of intrigues me a little bit. I have not done anything with that much of that. I've done tours with a lot of death metal bands like Nile, Suffocation, Immolation, but not much with doom metal. So that's I found that pretty intriguing to me. That the whole style is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've been into doom for a while, and yeah, it's definitely one of the more interesting genres out there.
It's cool because it blends with extreme metal too. You know, I mean, Conan that new record's amazing. I don't know if you haven't heard yet, but that thing is just pure brutality. Like, I think they tuned to F, which is really freaking low, you know. But it just sounds great, man. And you know, like I can hang with an album like that and then listen to, you know, Necrot, you know, back to back, both of them that I find both to be super enjoyable. You know, so it's really cool. But I also like, you know, hardcore, like Jesus Peace and other stuff like that, you know. So it's kind of cool. Like my spectrum of metal is kind of quite big. I listen to a lot of different stuff. I try to get to hear as much different stuff as possible. And even outside of metal, I listen to some stuff too that I find quite cool and influential.
Yeah, for sure. And it almost seems like there's not enough time in the day anymore to get through all of the stuff that's out there, you know?
I spend a lot of time with music, you know, kind of drives my wife a little crazy. Like, God, go do something.
Yeah.
Instead of staying in front of your iPod for hours. But I can't help it, man. You know, I just love it too much. And my curiosity of the stuff is really big. And it's like, you know, I have a huge hunger to find out more about bands and to kind of like get to know them, get in contact with them. I think that's really cool too. Part of the kind of brings me back to the old days of tape trading and stuff like that. You know, I do a lot of that with bands that I like. Go to concerts too. You know, we just had a Dying Fetus show here with Genocide Pact and Gatecreeper. That was really cool. So yeah, you know, so I try to stay as much as I can connected to what's going on in metal in the world, you know.
There's I know we don't want to take up all your time tonight, but I just got a couple more for you. One is just shifting it back over to Soulfly a little bit. And you may have answered this in other interviews, but how does it feel like just I'm a father, I've got 3 kids, and what does it feel like to you just to have your own son kind of carrying on your journey in music with you and just watching him grow as a drummer on each record?
Feels great. I mean, I think Zion's history is really fascinating to me because he was groomed from when he was little to be doing what he's doing right now. You know, his heartbeat open scale is AD, so right then, to me, that's where his training starts. So it kind of reminds me of like those Soviet trainers that train their kids, like athletes from Soviet era that train their kids to like throw them in ice water and get them to wrestle bears, like the Khabib kind of dad did that to him, you know, the MMA fighter. It's like similar things I found it to Zion, you know, his childhood and teenage years. I mean, he was behind all the Soulfly drummers for a long, long time, and you know, it was kind of like learning all the little things, the moves, the beats, and then little by little he was start to get good, you know, better and better. And then there was a time where like, okay, I think you can come to the band now. That was on Savages. And then he grew with us, which is cool. He did better on Archangel. Now he's killing on Ritual. He's like totally killing, and I think it's one of the coolest things is to play with him. I think fans love the father and son connection. And as a musician, I think he's doing amazing, man. You know, I wouldn't put him in the band if I didn't feel that he had the chops to play really good, because that would have, if it was just my son and it was just like a favor type thing and he wasn't playing really good, it wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be right. So he has to play really good, you know, to be in Soulfly. So that's that. So, but I'm extremely proud of him, and he works really hard for it too, you know. So, and it's still, he's hungry, which is great. He's got the energy and the hunger that reminds you of me when I was at that age. of wanting to do things, sometimes we have arguments because he tries to tell me, "Oh, you don't understand the new generation, Dad. We have to do things this way." And I was like, "No, we don't. We have to keep doing things the way we do it,
Yeah.
So we get kind of a little bit kind of arguments, but most of it's really cool. So I'm really, really proud of him, man.
Very cool. Good to hear. My kids are all little, so we're not there yet, but I don't know.
You get there.
My littlest one just turned 1, and he is walking around the house growling a lot, so I like that. Just walking around doing that.
That's always a good start.
Yeah. But so I got one last one in the can for you, and it's more about modern recording technology, based on where you started versus where you're at now. Now you can record an album anywhere. And
right.
Is there a strange place, or I guess what I'm asking is, what is the weirdest place you've recorded something that ended up on a record?
Yeah, I think recording is really taking a different aspect these days. You're right, you can pretty much record everywhere. You don't need... We still go to a nice, good studios because we want the best for the record. Like Ritual is recording a really good studio in LA. But I noticed that in the end of it, we didn't finish in LA, and Josh ended up flying here, and we ended up recording vocals in my house. And he just brought some stuff with him on his backpack, and it made it work. And that was totally amazing, that he did that. And it made me kind of rethink the whole thing, that maybe in the future, not too long from now, maybe even the next kind of records that I do, we might even be able to go home and record it, or go to a place that's really cool, an abandoned building or abandoned church or some kind of place like that you can just bring some, whatever gear that you need for it and make it work. And I'm super excited for that because I think that's really cool, because that's kind of... I think that's the future. That's where this is going. The future of recording is going in things like that, and I think it's going to be extremely cool to see it. Bands and artists going to be able to record in more different places like that in the future. You don't really probably don't need to go to the big studios as much as you used to.
I hope your house isn't on fire. Yeah.
He's just so metal.
Everything okay?
Hello?
Yeah,
Hello.
we're
Yes.
still here. Everything okay?
Yeah. Just we got the alarm going in the house, but it just.
Oh, gotcha.
My wife is cooking, so she probably burned something.
That's why I cook all my dinners.
It sounds kind of metal right now.
2 a.m.
Right. Yeah, you got
all
that
the
nice
alarms ringing.
screech. Yeah.
All right, brother.
Very cool. Thanks so much for talking to us tonight, and we will try to catch up with you when you come to our neck of the woods.
Yeah. Let's arrange that face to face. That'll be great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Nice talking to you, brother.
Yep, you too. Have a good night.
All right, take care, guys.